Some mysteries defy all logical explanation, and today's case fits that description. On this episode, we look into the unsolved disappearance of Juan Pedro Martinez, a 10-year-old boy who vanished from the site of a horrific truck accident in the Somosierra mountain pass in Spain. What should have been a tragic but straightforward crash investigation quickly spiraled into one of the strangest missing persons cases in European history. Despite an extensive search and thousands of leads, Juan Pedro was never seen again following the crash. His case remains one of Interpol's most baffling unsolved mysteries, a case where every theory seems more unsettling than the last. Welcome back to Fireside Unsolved, episode 155, The Unexplained Disappearance of Juan Pedro Martinez, the boy from Somosierra. Born on January 1st, 1976, Juan Pedro was the only child of Andrés and Carmen Martínez. The family lived in Murcia, a quiet city in southeastern Spain where life was simple and predictable. Andrés worked as a tanker truck driver, often spending long hours on the road, while Carmen took care of their home. Juan Pedro was a bright and well-behaved child, studious, curious, and eager to learn about the world beyond his small hometown. He loved to read and had a restless sense of adventure, always asking questions about places he had never seen. In June 1986, his father offered him an experience most 10-year-olds could only dream of. Andrés had a long-haul delivery to make in northern Spain, and as a reward for his son's excellent grades, he invited Juan Pedro to come along for the ride. It would be a chance to see landscapes far different from the dry, sun-baked terrain of Murcia. Lush green valleys, rolling pastures, and dairy farms with the cows that fascinated him. His mother, Carmen, would also join them, turning the work trip into a rare family adventure. On June 24th, they set off in Andrés' massive tanker truck, carrying nearly 20,000 liters, over 5,000 gallons, of highly toxic sulfuric acid. Their journey would take them over 800 kilometers, or 500 miles, from Murcia to the northern port city of Bilbao. For Andrés, it was a familiar route, one he had driven many times before. But for Juan Pedro, it was the trip of a lifetime. He sat eagerly in the truck's cab, entertaining himself with his favorite audiobooks on cassette, staring out the window as they made their way north. The last confirmed sighting of the Martinez family took place in the early morning hours of June 25, 1986. At approximately 5:30 a.m., they stopped for breakfast at a roadside restaurant along the N1 motorway near the municipality of Cabanillas de la Sierra. For the most part, it seemed to be a brief and uneventful stop. The waiter who served them recalled only one detail stood out in his memory: Juan Pedro. The boy had been dressed entirely in red. Otherwise, there was nothing unusual about the family, just a father, mother, and child quietly sharing a meal. Then around an hour later, tragedy struck. At approximately 6:30 a.m., as they navigated the winding roads of the Somosierra mountain pass, something went terribly wrong. Andrés lost control of the massive tanker truck on a curve, sending the vehicle careening off the road. Within moments, it overturned, spilling its dangerous cargo and bringing the family's journey to a violent and catastrophic end. As emergency personnel arrived at the scene, the wreckage of the tanker truck told a tragic story. Inside the cab, they found the lifeless bodies of Andrés and Carmen. Both had died instantly upon impact, their lives taken in the blink of an eye. The tank, which had ruptured during the crash, had spilled sulfuric acid, further disfiguring the bodies of the couple. The corrosive substance made an already horrific accident even more devastating. Among the scattered wreckage, authorities discovered a few unexpected items: cassettes and a set of young boys' clothes. But what they failed to realize in that moment was that the couple hadn't been alone. It wasn't until later, when the authorities reached out to Carmen's mother, Maria, to inform her of her daughter and son-in-law's deaths, that the full scope of the tragedy began to unravel. "And the boy?" Maria asked. "Where is my grandson? What happened to Juan Pedro?" Law enforcement conducted an extensive search of the area utilizing horses, dogs, motorbikes, and helicopters, but found no sign of the missing boy anywhere. Investigators considered the possibility that Juan Pedro's body might have been dissolved by the sulfuric acid. However, this theory was soon discredited by expert chemists, who explained that a body would need to be totally submerged in the substance for a complete dissolution to occur. Additionally, help had arrived too quickly for such a thing to have the time it would need to take place. Juan Manuel Sanchez, the civil guard captain in charge of the search, said, "We spent more than 2 months going from bush to bush around that point in the Sierra. We couldn't rule out the possibility that the little one got scared and ran through the mountains, but there was no sign of it within a radius of 30 kilometers." Investigators made the decision to dismantle the truck, hoping to uncover any possible mechanical issues or signs of malfunction that could explain the crash. The truck had recently passed a thorough safety inspection, and upon re-examination, it became clear that there were no apparent issues with the brakes or the engine. Everything seemed in working order. The investigators at the accident scene determined that the truck had been traveling at a speed of approximately 140 kilometers per hour, or 86 miles per hour, when it suddenly skidded and overturned. This was significantly faster than the vehicle should have been going, especially considering the conditions on the road. The investigators now had a crucial question on their hands. Why was the truck traveling at such a high rate of speed? Further examination of the truck's tachometer revealed another curious detail. In the final 8-mile stretch before the crash, the vehicle had made 12 short stops, all within a relatively brief span of time. The vehicle had not left the motorway at any point, and there had been very little traffic that morning, which made the frequent halts even more perplexing. Then, authorities stumbled upon a discovery that would completely alter the course of their inquiry. Trace amounts of illegal substances were found in the wreckage of the truck. This revelation was shocking to everyone involved. Neither Andrés nor Carmen had any known history of illicit involvement with substances. Neither were suspected of dealing or using. But as investigators delved deeper, the family revealed that Andrés had, in fact, been coerced into transporting illicit cargo to northern Spain by a local drug smuggling ring. As if the situation weren't perplexing enough, eyewitnesses soon came forward with an even more bizarre twist. On the morning of the crash, 2 unidentified individuals in a white Nissan Vanette were spotted near the wreckage. According to witnesses, an elderly woman, claiming to be a nurse, and her male companion appeared at the crash site shortly after the accident occurred. They scoured the wreckage for a brief period before emerging with a bundle, possibly Juan Pedro, and placed it inside their van. The 2 then quickly drove off, disappearing into the distance. With this disturbing new lead, the police launched an extensive search, focusing on over 3,000 white Nissan Vanettes, the vehicle seen at the scene. Despite their efforts, they came up empty-handed. No trace of the van, the elderly woman, or the male companion could be found. As the investigation unfolded, police speculated that another vehicle, likely containing criminals affiliated with the drug smuggling ring, had been tailing Andrés' truck throughout his journey. The purpose of this surveillance, authorities believed, was to monitor Andrés' progress as he transported the cargo. The theory suggested that the pressure and anxiety from being followed, combined with the high stakes of the mission, might have contributed to Andrés losing control of the truck, which led to the tragic accident. But another theory began to emerge, one even more sinister. Investigators wondered if members of the drug ring had forced Andrés to stop, perhaps as a way of seizing Juan Pedro to ensure that Andrés would not back out of completing his smuggling mission. The child's abduction, it seemed, could have been a calculated move to control Andrés' actions. The theory posited that, in a panic to retrieve his son, Andrés might have tried to pursue the criminals, only to lose control of the vehicle in his desperate attempt to get Juan Pedro back. It was at this moment that the crash occurred, sending the truck into a violent skid and overturning on the road. In the days following the accident, numerous sightings of Juan Pedro surfaced across Spain. People claimed to have seen the missing child in various locations, each sighting adding to the confusion. One particularly puzzling report placed Juan Pedro in Madrid, where he was allegedly seen with an elderly blind woman. However, despite these reports, none of the sightings could be corroborated or substantiated with any concrete evidence. Despite the many theories and possible leads, law enforcement has been unable to prove any of them. No solid leads have emerged, and the young boy has never been found. His family, devastated by his sudden disappearance, still holds out hope, clinging to the belief that one day, somehow, they will find him. The case of Juan Pedro Martinez, also known as the boy from Somosierra, has become known as one of the most puzzling and unsettling missing persons cases in European history. Despite extensive efforts by local authorities and international agencies, including Interpol, the mystery remains unsolved to this day. As the years go by, the questions surrounding Juan Pedro's fate live on, leaving those who loved him still yearning for a resolution that, as of now, appears increasingly out of reach.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.